Hello, I'm Brenda Sanders Passmore, and welcome to Health Bites. Today I'm going to show you a little sequence done with the strap to help stretch out the hips and low back. Hips, thighs, and low back. So today I'm going to use a yoga strap. Now if you don't happen to own one, there's several other options that you can use. Maybe you could use like an old tie. I know in my old yoga classes we used to fight over the ugly ones. Or you could use a bathrobe tie or something of that nature. Essentially the strap just lengthens your arms and makes things a little bit more accessible, particularly if you're really tight and stiff and need that little extra length. All right, so we're just going to get right to it. We're just going to get onto our backs. And what we're going to do is just wrap the strap around the arch of our left foot. And then you're going to lengthen out that left leg as best you can. And I'm keeping the right leg bent with the foot on the floor like so. Now I like to hold the strap roughly around the knees. If you hold it like this, you're going to wear out your upper body trying to hold the posture, and that's counterproductive. So what you want to do is hold it up here. That way you're just using the weight of your arms to hold the pose, and then it's really easy. Now we want the left leg completely straight. If you're tight in this particular direction, your pose might look a lot more like this, where the heel is much closer to the foot of the mat, and that's where I started years ago. So you want to pull the leg up until you feel about 75% of your maximum stretch. So just a feel good, comfortable stretch. You're aware that you're stretching the muscle, but nothing hurts. So the back of the legs, that sort of thing, no pain. And then we're just going to breathe deeply here, and that helps to induce the stretch reflex. So just big breaths. Next, what we're going to do is just slowly stretch out that right leg along your mat. So as much as we're pulling up on the left, we're drawing downward on the right. So the right hip, the right knee, right heel is pressing downward into the mat. And you might feel that you might need to adjust the strap a little bit to keep that left leg straight. Again, this just makes it, we've made it a little bit more challenging because we're tilting our pelvis forward a little bit. So feel free to adjust. The whole idea behind the strap is to keep you comfortable. So what we're going to do next is we're going to wrap both tails of the strap around the left knuckles. We're going to bring the right arm out into a half T, so palm up. And then what we're going to do is anchor that whole right side of our body deep down into the mat as we slowly open up at the groin and let the foot drop towards the floor on the left. Now, we're not trying to touch the floor with our foot at all. In fact, if you do, you'll probably notice that your hip is rolling right off the mat. We want to really keep that buttock firm into the mat. So now's a good time to kind of check in with that right hand and make sure that that is so. And so we're just going to hold and breathe here. It should be very comfortable. The legs should be completely straight, and there should be zero pain in the inside of the knee or anything like that. It should feel almost as though you're pressing through that left heel. And if you find that you're kind of looking more like this, where the knee is bent a little bit, it's probably an indication that you need to pull the leg back a little bit. It just means you're overstretching a little bit. So we just hang out with the pose and hold and breathe. So you can always shorten or lengthen the strap as much or as little as you need to. Again, this is all about making the postures comfortable in your body. Then we're going to inhale, pull that leg back into the center. Now we're just going to switch sides. We're going to wrap both tails of the strap around the right knuckles. This is going to bring you into a twist, and one of my favorites. What we're going to do is bring the left arm out into a half T position, and then we're going to exhale, pull that leg all the way over towards the floor on the right as the head looks on over to the left. Now, in order to do this correctly, you need to have the entire buttocks, the entire low back, even part of the mid back rolling off the mat. You can't do this pose correctly with the buttocks on the mat, so you have to roll this whole side of the body over in order to do this comfortably. I want you to soften your bellies, and you're just going to breathe very, very deeply here, in and out out through the nose. And again, that just helps to induce that stretch reflex, that softening and letting go. Now, to come out of this safely, what you're going to do is just bend the bottom leg, the one that's on the mat, keep the other leg straight, and then you're going to inhale everything back into the center. And you might need to kind of shift your hips a little bit over to get them centered on the mat. Now we're going to use the strap to help us bend our leg, our left leg, and place the left ankle on top of the right thigh. And now we're going to prepare for thread the needle. So what we're going to do is keep our legs in this formation. You're going to lift the right thigh up towards the belly, and then you're going to feed or thread the strap through the hole in the legs and wrap it around your right thigh. Now what I would like you to do is hold the straps so that your hands are very close, like physically touching your thigh. And what I like to do is wrap the straps around the knuckles. This gives you really great leverage, and then you're not going to wear out your upper body trying to stretch the lower body. And then on every exhalation, you're just going to pull that right knee up a little bit closer to the right shoulder. So every exhale, you're just pulling up a teeny tiny bit more if you can. You want to flex both feet, particularly the top leg, your left leg, because that just protects your knees. So if on the off chance you were going to overstretch, you're protecting your knee joint. And that's really important, because usually when we aggravate our knees and end up with a knee injury, you're usually stuck with it for quite a while. So on the next exhale, you're just going to release that strap. You're going to let the foot hit the floor. You're going to keep that formation in the legs. In other words, don't uncross. You're going to bring the arms up into T position again, chest height. And then we're going to do a different type of twist. So we're just going to let the legs drop all the way over towards the floor in the left, and the head's going to look over to the right. Now, this is when I want you to really check in with your low back and be honest with yourself. If there's any discomfort at all in your low back, what I want you to do is just unhook that top foot and drop it on the floor in front of you. This is just an alternate pose. It just modifies it a little bit, and it's less intense on the low back. In fact, I had to do it this modified version for the first 2 years of my yoga practice. I just didn't bend this way naturally when I first started my practice. We're going to inhale up through the center. You're going to uncross the legs, and then I just like to kind of windshield wiper the knees from side to side to shake out any residual tension. So we're just going to get started. The exact same sequence, you've already learned it. We're just going to repeat it now on the other side. So what we're going to do is wrap that strap around the arch of our right foot. So once again, you can adjust it up or down to get that comfortable stretch for you. Again, it should be, you want to be aware that you're stretching the muscle, but nothing, absolutely nothing should hurt. It should feel like about 75% of your maximum stretch. Then we're just going to slowly and gently just stretch out that left leg along your mat. So again, as much as you're pulling up on the right, you're drawing downward on that left. So left hip, left knee, left heel is pressing downward into your mat. The deep breathing really helps to induce relaxation of the muscles. You'll go deeper faster if you really work with your breath. So what we're going to do again is just wrap the strap around the knuckles, the right knuckles, both straps. And then we're going to bring the left hand out into a half T. Once again, we're going to anchor that whole left side of our body deep down into the mat, and we're going to slowly open up at the groin, letting the foot drop towards the floor on the right. So again, we don't want that left butt cheek leaving the mat. If it is, you're going to want to pull the leg back towards the midline a little bit. Same thing if the knee is kind of bent. You're going to want to pull the leg back in towards the midline. The right leg should be completely straight. And again, it should feel almost as though you're pressing through that right heel. And this is only intended to be a super mild stretch in the inner thigh groin, nothing more. So if you're waiting for this deep stretch, you might be waiting a long time. All right, we're going to inhale that leg back on in through the center. Now we're going to switch hands. We're going to wrap both tails of the strap around the left knuckles. Bring the right arm out into half T position. And so what we're going to do is turn this into a twist. So we're going to exhale, pull that leg. And you'll notice how I'm kind of doing a hip shift a little bit as I pull that leg all the way over towards the floor on the left as the head looks on over to the right.
Now, if you feel like it's too much of a stretch, you can opt to put a block or something or a cushion underneath your right foot. We want the bottom leg straight, the one that's on the mat. It should be straight, and the top leg should be very, very heavy. Soft bellies, deep, full breath here, in and out through the nose. Now, if you wish to go for a deeper stretch, if you find that you're ready for a little bit more, an optional thing that you can do is really drive that right shoulder deep down into the mat. I'm a little tight in there, so I don't quite go down flush to the mat. But if you can, great. Also, another option is to pull the leg up. And by up, I mean more level with the hip joint. So those are ways that you can go deeper into the posture. But again, you want to keep it in that comfy 75% of your maximum stretch. It should feel good. So to come out of the pose, you're just going to bend that bottom leg, the one that's on the mat. Keep the top leg straight, and then you're just going to inhale both hips back into the center. And again, you might need to shift your hips a little bit to get centered on your mat. So we're going to use that strap to place the ankle, the right ankle, on top of the left thigh. And we're going to prepare for thread the needle. So you just leave your legs in this formation. And then what you're going to do is lift that left thigh up towards the belly, and then you're going to feed or thread the strap through the hole in your legs. And then once again, you're going to wrap the straps around your knuckles with the hands physically touching the thighs, and then on every exhalation, you're going to pull that left knee up a little bit more towards the left shoulder. Now, if you don't feel like you really need the strap, and you can easily, and I do stress the word easily, interlace the hands behind your left thigh without lifting up on the neck and shoulders, then you can do this without the strap. Again, the strap is just used to kind of lengthen your arms out a little bit and make poses a little bit more accessible. So if you can easily reach around your thigh, you can do it this way instead. And next exhale, we're just going to release the hands or the strap. You're going to let the foot hit the floor. Once again, we're going to bring the arms out into T position, and then we're just going to come into another kind of twist. We're just going to drop both legs over to the right, and the head's going to look over to your left. So the first side might have felt fabulous, and this side not so much. So again, I just want you to check in with your body, see how it feels, and again, if there's any discomfort, just drop the top foot on the floor in front of you. It's just a less intense version. And so just soften the belly and keep it moving, deep full breaths. And then we're just going to inhale, slowly come back on up through the center and uncross those legs. To come out of the pose, you just roll over to your side and then just push yourself on up into seated. So there you have it. It's a nice, easy little sequence for the hips, thighs, and low back. It only takes a few minutes. It can really make the body feel a lot more comfortable, especially if you're sitting a lot at your desk and things like that. So I encourage you to give it a try. Thanks for watching.